underneath the vehicle bridge for the first time, with Stuart Oliver looking to try and make sure yesterday as he's lost out to his Team Oliver Racing teammate Stuart Oliver, who leads this race. Ricky Collett looking to hang on to 4th place, but John Newell looking to try and see if he can get the overlap on the man from Halifax. Not quite going to work. The yellow truck of Ricky Collett hanging on to 4th. John Newell still there in 5th. Is he going to be braver on the brakes? Ricky still with a few handling issues with that truck that they've no doubt tried to sort out. Steve Powell comfortably leading at the wheel of the yellow number 3 MAN Division 2 at this stage from brother Graham Powell, and all would appear to be good for the gearbox of number 42 Luke Garrett now, because he has now moved himself up into what is 13th position overall and 3rd in Division 2, and ahead of that lap of Craig Evans, who's dropped to 4th in Division 2. So the Division 1 leaders heading through Palmer. Stuart Oliver leading by just under 2 seconds. 1.959 seconds was the lead advantage last time through. First opportunity that Ryan Smith has had, by the look of things, to have a truck that he's happy with in terms of handling. Let's see whether he can now close the gap on Stuart Oliver. Ryan was originally intending to not bother with the British Truck Racing Championship but concentrate on Europe. He said at the end of Brands Hatch last year, when he claimed his 4th title on the trot, that he'd achieved everything he wanted to in British truck racing, but of course that was before the COVID pandemic struck, and therefore with restrictions on travel and quarantine possibilities and things as well, it's far easier to just put together a domestic season for himself and his supporters and sponsors, and it is a European campaign, so Ryan's always going to be competitive, whether he's here in the UK or in Europe, and we're probably very lucky to have him racing with us in the UK this year. Otherwise we might have seen very little of him throughout the course of the 2020 season. What can he do though about closing the gap on Stuart Oliver? Champion, he was the 2000 champion, he won in 2001, 2, 3 and 4, and then 2007, 8, 9 and 10 he was the champion. Raced briefly in the British Touring Car Championship as well, if you remember correctly, and he was the 2004 European champion as well. He was also runner-up in 2015 and 2016, so he's been a front runner for the best part of 2 decades now in the championship, and the lead advantage that time through has actually grown. It's come out by another 0.3, 0.4 of a second as Stuart sets the first flying lap at a 2-minute 25.461. Ricky Collett doing a good job of still hanging on to 4th place, despite the fact that he's got John Newell, Dave Jenkins and Ollie James all behind him at the moment. The man from Halifax, who again has been racing since the 1990s, as Ricky doing a really good job of trying to keep the aspirations of those behind. Ricky first appeared on the scene back in 1992 in the British Truck Racing Championship, so arguably the most experienced driver that we've got out there in the championship nowadays, particularly with the absence of Paul McCumsky, who hasn't joined us this weekend, Paul having had a terrible weekend at Donington Park. Now Ricky is side by side with John Newell, but John's on the outside line towards Oggies. Dave Jenkins therefore might try and utilise the opportunity that John Newell has left the door open slightly to squeeze through. Ollie James is in the mix as well. Mark Taylor has come in and is back out of the pit lane. Problems with his number 81 truck hopefully have now been sorted. But for Division 2, it is still Stephen Powell that is out front and leading from brother Graham Powell, number 55. sounds of one of those things that they're not going to have to deal with before the race is on. So get him out there, get some championship points in the bag at least, and then work on it in between this race and the next race that's coming up. This is the first of 3 races, remember, today for the British Truck Racing Championship. New fastest lap of the race for Stuart Oliver last time through. That is a 2 minute 25.126, 2:25.126. That still not quite as quick as the lap time Stuart did in the first race of yesterday, where it was 2 minutes 24.2. So he's got about another 0.9 of a second to try and find to get to the pace that he was at yesterday. He's just turning his way for what is the 4th time of asking out of Agostini, not under any pressure at all from Ryan Smith. There was a 10th of a second gain between the trucks in 2nd and 3rd place, but Ricky Collins managed to do a cracking job in 4th position of still managing to hold up John Newell, Dave Jenkins, and then the Volunteer Bagheera in the hands of Ollie James. Ollie James is also getting caught now by Simon Reed, so Ricky Collins, a bit of a cork in the bottle really. I think the trucks behind are quicker, but Ricky is just making sure that his truck, which as we say wasn't handling particularly well to his liking yesterday, is just getting off the corners maybe a little bit cleaner as they've adjusted the damping again on that truck. So down the Bentley straight they'll go. These are in Division 2. Still there in 3rd place. Ricky Collins now in 4th place. He's actually got really with the championship leaders coming into this weekend, he's had a win, he's had a second, he's had a couple of fourth, have a chip. So far this weekend, John Newell has managed 2 6th places. So that's still 4 championship points, but for 6th place, you only get 10 championship points. It's 15 for a win, 14 for second, 13 for 12, and so on. It diminishes down to 1 point if you are in 15th position. But that, of course, is in your individual class as well. So in towards the left-hander at Hamilton, and then up towards the right-hander at Oggies goes our race leader, Stuart Oliver, still pressing on. Quicker on every single lap so far. Still got Ryan Smith sitting in 2nd place, but he's getting caught now. He got caught, I think, in the early stages of this lap. The previous lap, the gap was 1.9 seconds between Ryan Smith and Martin Gibson. I think it might have just come down slightly. No, it's still probably rolling around 2 seconds between the pair. I'll look closer to the naked eye, but I'm counting mentally in my head. Head over the start-finish line, and there is more than a lap time left, so this is lap number 5 completed. Lap number 6, and again it's another lap. That hasn't been quicker than the previous one. Still not down to the kinds of time. Of his fastest lap from race 1 yesterday, which was a 2 minute 24.2. So junction the last time. Ollie James, Simon Reed, and yesterday's race winner